The buzzer beaters, the crowd, the Cinderellas. College basketball is a beautiful game filled with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The start of every season brings a fresh start for every team and every player. A chance for teams to fold under the burden of their expectations. A chance for teams to receive redemption for a previous season that was cut shorter than they had hoped. And of course, a chance for teams and players expected to do nothing to shock the world. This channel will be dedicated to discussing and analyzing all that goes on in the college basketball world. Welcome to the CBB Report. There is, unfortunately, lots of time until the beginning of the college basketball season on November 8th. With the transfer portal winding down and declaring for the draft over, rosters are starting to take shape. With that, let's go through each conference and rank the teams. Today, let's do our too early 2022-2023 rankings for one of the most storied conferences in college basketball, the Pac-12. While I love ranking teams, I do not believe it provides a clear picture of the competition levels between teams. The difference between a team I rank 7 and a team I rank 8 can be extremely marginal, and both teams can probably flip-flop on my rankings. The same things go for 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and etc. etc. That is why I have created a tier list to show off different levels of competition. In the Pac-12, I have created 5 tiers, the 5th being the lowest and the 1st being the highest. Today, let's rank Tier 1, which I have named the Ultimate Contenders. In the Pac-12, the difference between Tier 2 and Tier 1 teams are way smaller than the difference between Tier 2 and Tier 1 teams in the Big Ten. That said, I named Tier 1 the Ultimate Contenders like the Big Ten because these are the most complete rosters from 1 to 12, and these two teams should be at the top of the Pac-12 throughout the season and should best represent the Pac-12 come March. The second best team in the Pac-12 this year will be Oregon. Last year, the Ducks had a disappointing season by their standards. At 2015, 11-9 in the conference and 6th in the Pac-12, they just missed out on March Madness. This year, though, they are retooled and revamped. Oregon lost some pieces in Rutgers legend Jacob Young, Frank Kipnang, and Eric Williams, who all contributed for the Ducks last year and were key role players. That said, Oregon retained their stars. They also added on. They got 2 key transfers in shooting guard Jermaine Cosnard from South Carolina and point guard Keyshawn Barthelemy from Colorado. With them comes the 35th best recruiting class in the country, headlined by the 10th best recruit in a 5-star 7-foot center from North Little Rock, Kael Ware. Ware was a major get from head coach Dana Altman and can be a star as a freshman. 3-star shooting guard recruit from Grayson County College, JUCO, Tyrone Williams will join Ware, as well as Brennan Rigsby from Northwest Florida State College. The backcourt is going to be elite for Oregon and Coach Altman. Will Richardson will come back to Eugene for the 5th season. The 6'5 guard will be the leader for the Ducks in the backcourt, on the back of all Pac-12 second-team honors. Last year, Richardson averaged 14.1 points per game on 45% shooting from the field and 38.8% from the three-point line. He also showcased his great vision, leading the team with 3.6 assists per game. He was also 3rd on the team with 114 offensive rating. At 6'5 at point guard, he's always going to be a mismatch for whoever is guarding him. Joining him in the backcourt will most likely be transfer Jermaine Cosnard. Cosnard averaged 12 points per game for the Gamecocks last year. He's a slightly less efficient scorer, but is a great passer, averaging 3.2 assists per game. At 6'4, he's also on the bigger side, and he has a high motor and fights inside, averaging 2.5 boards last year. He is also a very good and scrappy defender. Last year, he averaged 1.1 steals for South Carolina, and is always in an offender's face. Quincy Guerrier will start at 3. Guerrier is a solid starter at the small forward position. He averaged 10.1 points per game, shooting 48.1% from the field and 32.5% from 3. He's going to be another solid scoring option for the Ducks. He is an average defender and good enough ISO scorer. At 6'8, he's another tall player for the Ducks that can generate mismatches. The front court will be what makes or breaks the Ducks. They are extremely talented but also very young. Kael Ware will be one of the starters, and there is a lot to like about Ware. He is raw and will need to improve as the season goes on, but has great length and should be an instant force at the rim on both the defensive and offensive sides. He could average a block per game. He also has good touch and can even kind of shoot the 3 as a 7-footer. This is another Ducks player that can be a mismatch, and he's very athletic and fast that can throw it down in the fast break. His partner will be Nafali Dante. Dante averaged 20 minutes per game last year and 8.1 points per game shooting 67.5% from the field. In limited minutes, he showcased masterful scoring prowess inside. He is a lengthy 6'11 with great touch around the basket. He led the team with 6.3 rebounds per game last year, and was 2nd on the team with 117.8 offensive rating. He was also 2nd on the team with a 95.6 defensive rating. He will probably be the 5th option for the Ducks, scoring, and that is totally fine, as he is used to a low usage rate. In the meantime, he will play lockdown defense around the rim, and will score when called upon. The bench is also extremely solid for Oregon. Nate Biddle will probably be the 6th man, and last year his 94.3 defensive rating led the the team. He also had an above-average offensive rating. Expect Biddle to get key minutes from Oregon and be a scoring spark plug off the bench. Rivaldo, Suarez, and Lockwood will also get some minutes on the bench, as they are familiar with Altman's system. Suarez averaged 18 minutes per game last year and was a good scorer, but was also a bit of a liability on the defensive end. If he can improve on his defense even a little, he should be a very valuable player for the Ducks. We should expect a slight bump up in minutes with the loss of Frank Kepnang. He was a good prospect for the Ducks and can thrive in a bench role backing up Dante and Ware. Rounding out the bench should be the recruits Tyrone Williams and Brendan Rigsby. And transfer Keyshawn Barthélemy should back up Richardson. This team has high upside due to its deep and talented bench also backing up a very talented starting five. I am all in on this Oregon front court, and thus this team in general. They have one of the tallest teams in the Pac-12 and have mismatches all around the court. Richardson is hungry in his final basketball season. There's a nice blend of youth and veterans, as well as good continuity. So I think Coach Altman will put it all together in Eugene for a special season. Expect Oregon to go 16-4 or 17-3 and finish second in the Pac-12. The best team in Tier 1, as well as the best team in the Pac-12 this year, will be, drumroll please, UCLA. Last year, UCLA finished 27-8, 15-5 in conference, and second in the Pac-12. This year, they are poised to take another step up. Sure, head coach Mike Cronin had a bunch of losses. The front court will need to replace Cody Riley and another Rutgers legend, Miles Johnson. Jules Bernard, Peyton Watson, and the heart of the team, Johnny Juzang, are all gone as well. So what did the Bruins do to replace these guys? Well, Coach Cronin only got the 13th best recruiting class in the country. The recruiting class is headlined by 5-star recruit shooting guard from Sierra Canyon and 9th best recruit in the entire nation, Amari Bailey. He also might end up being Drake's son, the way Drake was courting his mom back a year ago. Joining him is another 5-star center recruit from Prolific Prep and 16th best recruit in the nation, Adam Bona. Complementing these two high-powered recruits are high 4-star point guard recruit out of Compass Prep, Dylan Andrews, and an international recruit from Italy, Abramo Conca. Expect Amari Bailey to slot in right at the 2 for the Bruins. Bailey's defense is college ready. As he showed in high school, he could be a star on the defensive end. The one thing he may need to work on in his freshman season is his shot consistency, but expect that to come along as the season progresses. The rest of his game is pro-ready and expect him to be a star. At the 1 will be the wily veteran Tiger Campbell. Campbell's exactly what a head coach would want in a point guard. He led the team last year with 4.3 assists per game and only had 1.3 turnovers a game. He's a steady hand when on the ball and is now one of the de facto leaders on this team. Campbell averaged 11.9 points per game and shot 44% from the field and 41% from 3 last year. He was also second on the team with 119.8 offensive rating and also had an under 100 defensive rating. Campbell and Bailey will make a great defensive duo in the backcourt. Campbell is just a smart player and a winner. He won't hog shots, and he does not even need to shoot to impact the game. Everybody wants a player like Campbell on their team. Jalen Clark should play at the 3 for UCLA, though Clark will have to fight with David Singleton for the job. But ultimately, I think Clark will win out. Clark was scoring spark plug off the bench last year, coming in for stretches to get super hot and then coming back on the bench. He will also start because he's a fantastic defender, probably UCLA's best, and can guard both forwards and guards. He just needs to improve on his 25.9 3-point percentage. Clark is a fantastic player in transition, and if he doesn't start, he will definitely be the 6th man. In only 18 minutes per game last year, Clark averaged 3.8 boards per game. If he can get his 3-point shooting in the 30s, he might be the breakout player for UCLA and in the Pac-12. Expect the 5-star recruit, Adam Bona, to start at the center for the Bruins. Cronin already highly touted Bona, saying he's super athletic with an insane motor. At 6'9", he's a little undersized for center, but his athleticism should all but make up for it. Bona is going to make the rim shake at Pauley's Pavilion. Bona should also be lethal in the pick and roll with Campbell, and expect Coach Cronin to go to that many times in a game. At the 4 will be the veteran and star on the team, Jaime Jaquez. Jaquez is UCLA's leading returner in scoring, rebounding, and steals. Last year's shooting, though, was a bit disappointing, only shooting about 27% from 3, a 12% drop from the year before. Expect that number to go up to the low 30s, around 33 to 34%. Jaquez and Campbell are the heart and stars of the team. They are the stalwarts and know how to run Coach Cronin's system. Jaquez ranks in the 93rd percentile in post-ups and 77th percentile as a pick-and-roll ball handler. A 3-level scorer, another extremely high IQ basketball player that knows how to manipulate the offense to find the easiest way to score a bucket. Expect a lot of the offense to run through him, and he can be the Pac-12 player of the year. That is a death gauntlet of a starting 5. So how about the bench? The bench is also extremely talented and deep, probably the deepest and most talented in the Pac-12. David Singleton could start, but I think he will be their scoring 6th man. Singleton offers something that Clark does not. He is a 3-point sniper, with career averages of 43.8% from beyond the arc. The 6'4" point guard plays in the 96th percentile in catch and shoot jumpers, per synergy. Yes, you heard that right. Singleton is so lethal from beyond the arc. If he can match Clark's defensive value, expect him to start in his final year of eligibility. Andrews might be overlooked in this recruiting class because of Bona and Bailey in front of him, but that would be a mistake. Andrews is a great point guard in his own right, especially on the defensive end. Expect him to start when Campbell needs a rest, and learn from Campbell so he can take over the job next year. Will McClendon is another 3-and-D player that projects to get minutes off the bench for the Bruins. He is coming off an ACL injury, but he'll be really good in his limited role. McClendon was a highly regarded prospect himself, and UCLA has the fortune to bring him back slowly. He can just serve as a 3-point shooter at the start, but then can work up to a ball handler by the end of the season. Mac Etienne is going to back up Bona, and he's also coming off an ACL injury. Etienne is a great defender and great at crashing the glass and getting boards, and should give UCLA a reliable option if Bona gets in foul trouble. Kenneth Nwubu could also feature in some minutes at backup center, and fans may see Conca get on the court as well. UCLA should not miss a beat this year. This UCLA team just has an unbelievable amount of talent. They are also great defensively, and on offense have 1,000,001 ways to attack you. They can bring in Singleton and McClendon to be a 3-point shooting team, work with Campbell and Bona in the pick and roll, attack downhill with Clark and Bailey, or go ISO and post up with Bailey and Hawkes. Most of Cronin's leaders from last season are still on the team in Campbell and Hawkes, and they do not really have one weakness in their starting 5 or off the bench. They are relying a lot on Bailey and Bona, but they are both top 10 recruits for a reason. Coach Cronin will have this team ready to play by season start, and expect this UCLA team to be a top 10 team in the country, go 18-12 in the Pac-12, and be the best team in the entire Pac-12. That is my Pac-12 Tier 1, the Ultimate Contender rankings, and finishes my Pac-12 rankings as a whole. Let me know if you agree or not in the comments below, and thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Next, I'll be breaking down the ACC. Follow the TikTok, the CBB Report, subscribe, like, and comment with your thoughts. Where was I right? Where do you think I went wrong? Let me know down below, and thank you for watching.